I will call to order the special session of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors meeting. Mr. Jameson, roll call vote, please.
Schwartz,
Here.
Leyland,
Here.
Little,
Here.
White,
Here.
Trelka.
Here. We will now have a moment of silence to reflect on our actions. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to receive the agenda as proposed or amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say no. We have an agenda. Item number 2 is in regard to our organizational meeting, and this is a resolution to elect the chair of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors for 2022.
I make a motion, we nominate Craig White as chair of Blackhawk County Supervisors.
And I will make a second. Any comment or discussion?
I'd like to just say one thing, and it's difficult for me to have to say this today because I'm dealing with a lot of other things, but I cannot support Supervisor White as chair. Over the course of this past year, he has racked up multiple harassment complaints coming from his treatment of our guards in the building. He has often just speaks without thinking about the consequences of his words, whether he's belittling department heads or talking about how employees should be ashamed about cars sitting outside, but most recently his comments that came after my husband's death, his words he spoke without thinking, have just further added to my trauma, and I cannot support him. I don't think in his heart he meant to hurt me, but when you feel like you need to just rattle things off without thinking about those consequences, it's just further added to the trauma that I'm dealing with right now, and the immense crushing guilt and emotions that I feel. And I know that you were given an opportunity to clarify your words afterwards, and you didn't. In your apology that you texted to me, it was just blame shifting to the newspaper. And so for those reasons, I cannot support Mr. White as the chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any other comments?
Well, I can comment now or during the vote, so I might as well do it now. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to Mr. White that I can't support your chairmanship today. As you recall, what was done to me 2 years ago in 2020. And I know you used the claim, and I'm not saying that you didn't feel you were right at that time, that Mr. Schwartz had been unfairly denied a position in the rotation. And I argued with you at that time that that wasn't true, and I would have never done that deliberately to try to have someone positioned before or after me if that wasn't the rotation. And I know I'd asked you at that time also if there were other reasons, and you said there were. You said that you hadn't said those initially, but you'd said because I wasn't transparent enough for you. I had asked the others if they had any issues. No one spoke at that time. I'd ask you for examples, and you gave me none at that time. And I understand we each have our own differences of opinion for working with each other and things that we may like or dislike. But last year, then, Mr. Little nominated you as pro tem, and we seem to be back in a rotation again that we were before. And all year, I guess, up till today even, there's been no comment or concern or discussion or anything, conversation of the fact that I'm not in the rotation. So now here we are, and you were a chair in 2018, I believe was the year. Tom was in 19. 20 was the year I said I was scheduled to be, and then Chris to follow me. But that was changed by the board's vote, and so Schwartz served in 20. Trelka served this last year in 21. And now here we are for 22, and you're up as supervisor chair. So not indicating any interest or concern or anything about the rotation. So I guess I think certainly you can't be surprised that I don't support you today for those reasons, and there are other reasons I have too, but we don't need to go into those today. But I guess I would like to say on the record that the only time you seem to have a problem with the rotation was with me as chair. So I've said it before, I've wondered if us working with a woman on the board was an adjustment early on. It probably was. It'd been like 8 years before there had been a female. And I tried not to take that personally, but it's been rather difficult to not take it personally when those things seem to be directed at me more than anyone else. So I just wanted you to understand why I would not be able to support you as chair. And it's unfortunate for all of us as well as the taxpayers that we're even having these conversations, because I've always thought if we could just communicate and get along and work together, we could be such a better board and get so much more accomplished. But I've been here 9 years now and it just doesn't seem to happen, and that's so unfortunate. But I wanted you to understand my actions.
When I enjoy the dialogue I have with each and every board member. The one thing I try to look for harmony on the board. I'm one of 5. I'm 1/5 of this board. We have shared executive power. I have a dialogue with each of you. I enjoy that dialogue. I consider each of you my friends. And you all have distinct personalities, and I find that entertaining, quite frankly. And it adds to the challenge. So over the past several days, I've rolled this around in my head trying to think what's the diplomatic way for me to proceed, and I talked with some of you and communicated with other. Chris and I had a conversation through text. I've called Linda. Tom and I have communicated. Just because we have that dialogue. And ultimately what I decided is I support Craig to be the chair this next year, but I also, in the next step, in the next resolution, I'm going to make a motion that Linda is the pro tem, because in my mind that's just, I'm the rookie on this board, but I just felt like that's the most appropriate way to proceed with this next year of 2022. And from day one, I've commented to all of the other board members that we will tick each other off. But I, for one, will always, always, always come back to the table. No matter what, I mean, regardless of our arguments and disagreements. Because ultimately, for me, it's just what I feel is in the best interest of the citizens we serve. Any other comments in regard to 2A?
I'd just like to say that, for the record, only one supervisor asked for my support, and that was Supervisor White. I think over the years, Linda, you have been board chair, 2 times over the years?
Once.
Once?
Yes, in 2016.
I believe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you were nominated vice chair and you turned it down. Is that correct?
No, I've never turned it down, Tom.
I thought we nominated you and you said that you rescinded. That would have been when Chris got it.
No, I did not say that.
But again, I didn't hear anything from you, so I just assumed that you weren't interested in the position. Again, I received from one supervisor if I would support him, but obviously that's the only one that contacted me, and here we are today, and that's the reason why I made my motion. So,
Well, I'm sorry to disagree with you on that, but I said the rotation seemed to be in place for a long time, since 2007, until it was my term to be supervisor chair. And at that time, you and Mr. White voted differently, obviously, for reasons that you had of your own. But without any conversation, Tom, that's part of my concern. We talk about having a conversation with one supervisor, or just because one supervisor contacted you, we don't look at what we should be doing and how we work together fairly, equitably, and respectfully. And so I can't accept that as an excuse. Thank you.
It's not an excuse. I'm just stating the fact and what's on the record. So again, I wish you would have contacted myself if you were interested in being board chair. There's no set guidelines that there's a rotation that you're talking about. Basically, one individual could serve every year if the board choose to nominate and elect that person. So anyway, there is a nomination, and I call for the question.
Oh, I will still comment. I'm sorry, you don't get to call for the question and just leave it hanging. Because it was a dispute in 2020. It still is of concern to me, the way we do it. And quite honestly, to look at that rotation, and as we all feel, you elect a pro tem. Typically, that is where the pro tem moves into the chair position. So there was no reason for that, I guess, 2 years ago. And now that we seem to be returning to that, well, we'll see about today, but we have a different rotation. But if we want to change rotation, Tom, that's certainly an item we can discuss at any time, and we just chose not to. We didn't 2 years ago. We just did it surprisingly to people. And so I just think more conversation and communication could certainly improve here tremendously.
Mr. Jameson, roll call vote, please.
Leyland,
No.
Little,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Schwartz,
No.
Trelka.
Yes. Mr. White? Oh, I was going to take the gavel from you.
Next up is the resolution to elect the chair pro tem.
I'll make a motion to,
I nominate Supervisor Leyland.
I second that motion. Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. And before we move on any farther, I'd like to present Mr. Trelka with a plaque for his year of service as chair.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
job.
Very,
Nice
thank
job.
you. Yeah,
Yep, you
thank
did a
very
fine
much.
job. Thank you. And I'll try to follow in your footsteps. Next is the motion to, for the standing committees for the 22 year be established.
So moved?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 That is approved. Motion that the appointments to the respective boards and committees as representative of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors be approved for the year 22.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I believe we have some boards that need to be filled.
Yeah,
yet,
we do.
So they were December 31st.
Well, and if there's any that we want to, change that, what we're serving on, that would give somebody else a chance to get in the rotation for seeing what the other boards are like.
They're tough to fill, sadly.
I think you're speaking to two
Yeah.
different ones. You're thinking about the ones that
Oh,
we can
yeah.
serve on, and
Yeah.
he's talking about the
Well,
conservation
sometimes
and
that's
health.
hard too,
Yeah,
both ways. Yep.
but we need to get those filled.
Yep.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Aye. It is approved. Next is a motion to authorize the county auditor's office to issue cigarette permits on behalf of the Blackhawk County for the 22 calendar year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next is a resolution that the county auditor be authorized to issue checks payable during 22 for the following: water, lights, insurance, telephone, salaries, payrolls, as fixed by the Board of Supervisors, postage, court reports, porters, jury and witness fees, express, employee criminal history record checks, bank and bond payments and fees, and emergency expense from the Community Services, Veterans Affairs, and Sheriff's Departments.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is a resolution that the following newspapers be designated as the two official newspapers, Blackhawk County for 22 year. The Courier and Hudson Herald Printing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? This resolution, please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Next is a motion that the following appointed Blackhawk County Department heads for the 22 year: Rory Geving, Maintenance Superintendent; Amanda Fessemeyer, HR Director; Kathleen Nicholas, County Engineer; Al Yu, IT Director; and James Perry, Finance Director.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on these? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
That's approved. Motion to direct the Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer, to close county roads as necessary during the 22 construction season, subject to prior notifications to Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next is a motion to direct Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer, to embargo county roads as necessary for the 22 year, subject to prior notification of the Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. Motion to direct the chair to sign the progress vote vouchers for farm to market payments for the 22 year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. This is a resolution to adopt a construction evaluation pursuant to Iowa Code 4593043 regarding proposed confinement feed operation structures.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
White.
Yes, resolution adopted. Anything else to come before us this morning?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We are adjourned.